What if the Knights Templar weren't just warriors, but prophets? What if their Grand Masters secretly recorded visions, cryptic glimpses of empires, falling cities, burning, and symbols returning long after the Order's execution? And what if those prophecies didn't end in the 14th century, but instead pointed directly to our own time? A forgotten manuscript buried deep in the Vatican archives hints at something far stranger than fiction. It describes a chain of visions passed down through generations of Templar leaders. Not myths, not allegories, timelines, dates, warnings, and one chilling prediction: they were never meant to survive. That's a lot to take in, I know. So breathe. Let the urgency soften. Let the tension slip gently into curiosity. There's no need to rush. We'll take this slowly. One whisper, one parchment, one buried clue at a time. Because if this is real, the trail doesn't start now. It started centuries ago. You're about to step into the lost history of the Templar Grand Masters, not the history taught in classrooms, but the one buried beneath centuries of silence, redacted documents, and sacred oaths. This is the story of prophecies passed down not as divine revelation, but as a hidden science of foresight. One encrypted, fragmented, and fiercely protected by men who knew their time would run out. And yet they wrote anyway. They carved, copied, and concealed messages in stone chapels, forgotten codices, and ritual chants. Clues that only make sense now when the timelines they whispered about seem to converge. You don't need to believe everything. In fact, it's better if you don't. Just listen. Let the darkness settle around you. Let the questions unravel at their own pace. Before we venture further into the shadows, take a moment to subscribe so you never miss a secret that history has tried to forget. You wake into a world on the edge of fracture. It's still dark, still early. Paris, October 13th, 1307, a quiet Friday, the kind that wraps itself in mist and routine. Except today, the streets hold their breath. Across France, sealed letters are being opened, orders read. And from Rouen to Reims, from Avignon to Carcassonne, a wave begins. Knights are dragged from their beds, chained in silence. Their properties are seized, their temples ransacked, and within hours, the most powerful military order in Christendom becomes a hunted brotherhood. To the untrained eye, it all seems sudden, brutal but methodical. A well-executed royal purge. King Philip IV, deeply in debt to the Templars and eager to assert his control over the Church, had planned it meticulously. Every knight, every stronghold, every document, they knew exactly where to strike. But here's the strange part: not all the Templars were caught. In fact, some of the Order's most prized relics and records had already vanished before dawn. And in the days that followed, rumors began to spread not of betrayal, but of preparation. Some claimed that Jacques de Molay, the Grand Master, had received a warning weeks before, that he'd dispatched secret couriers to outposts across Europe, that a final set of instructions had been issued, encrypted, fragmented, and passed through symbols only the initiated could decode. And while most of the knights were rounded up in France, many of their ships, especially the fleet stationed at La Rochelle, were already gone. Just gone. Historians often chalk this up to chaos, but there's an alternate theory, far older, far stranger, that the Templar Grand Masters had access to some kind of predictive system. A framework of foresight. Maybe not prophecy in the biblical sense, but something closer to calculated insight. Pattern recognition, cycles, trends, a philosophy that could anticipate the collapse of regimes and the turning of tides. Was the mass arrest foreseen, or more radically, was it allowed to happen to fulfill some encrypted design? It would be easy to dismiss that as legend, if not for the surviving fragments of an internal chronicle, now known only by its whispered name, the Book of the Master. No full copy has ever surfaced publicly, but references to it echo through various depositions, confessions, and ecclesiastical letters. They suggest the existence of a master text passed down exclusively between Grand Masters, each one adding, redacting, or ciphering their own visions drawn from dreams, rituals, or astronomical alignments. One of the more curious accounts comes from an Italian prelate writing in 1324 who described a black codex containing the future. He never named it, but claimed it predicted that the order would pass through flame and shadow, yet be not destroyed, but hidden. The phrasing is almost poetic, but it's that word hidden that has fueled countless debates. Hidden where, hidden how, and more importantly, hidden why. This wasn't the only anomaly that night. In several locations, Templar commanderies had already been emptied, relics gone, ledgers scorched. In Chartres,